Welcome to a special sponsorship episode of the Middle School AD podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Fredrickson. And today we sit down with Richie Huval, who's a product representative with Neptune GameTime. In this episode, we discuss the middle school experience and how Neptune GameTime can make your athletic department consistent over the music that is played and the announcements that are played. We hope that you're able to get better from the discussion, but before we dive in, here's a word from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Gipper, the preferred sports graphics platform for ADs. Start creating professional-looking sports graphics today by starting a free trial. Middle School AD podcast listeners get 10% off any plan when you use code MSAD10 at Gipper.com.
At the Wall of Fame, our mission is to bring your school's legacy to life. We transform school tributes to make it easier than ever to celebrate your whole community, showcasing your school's diverse history, proudest moments, and top role models. We understand that the true value of our Wall of Fame is in your content. Whether you are starting a new tribute or adding to an existing one, we give you all the resources you need to build an interactive experience and take your content to the next level. For more information about the Wall of Fame and a 5% discount, visit vitalsignswalloffame.com/Freddie.
As an athletic administrator, you understand better than most how much support matters. Support for your coaches, support for your athletes, and support for your department are crucial to providing the best possible experience for every student. Snap Mobile is now your one-stop for all the tools you need to support your department. With our expanded suite of products, you can now raise money, open team stores, schedule and manage your facilities, and communicate with your athletes, parents, and stakeholders with the same level of care you've come to expect from Snap. Visit snapraise.com today to schedule a demo with your local Snap Mobile representative.
Hometown Ticketing makes it fast and easy to buy tickets on your school's website or in the new Hometown Fan app. It's simple. Just search for your school, buy your tickets, and they'll be right there in your account, ready to be scanned when you get to your event. Download the Hometown Fan app today.
I think it's important when you work with a company and you have a relationship with a company. You want to make sure that the folks that you're dealing with are people who kind of get it. They understand what you're going through.
I love things where it's a one-stop shop.
And the feedback that we've gotten from our parents this year has been superb.
Students, they know that here's where I go to do this and then it's taken care of.
It's been able to make things easier for our kids to get to participate.
And so the coaches can see that right now leading into that season, and they can kind of prepare and kind of get themselves ready.
I think the person who is scared of software, they can still navigate it.
They're not having to have stacks and stacks of paperwork on their desk, but everything is digital for them, and so it makes it really easy.
The AD role, it saves me a tremendous amount of time, which time's everything.
I would just say that to give Final Forms a shot, it's going to save you a lot of time and energy in the end. You'll be extremely happy if you make that choice.
This is Game Time. Neptune GameTime creates a high-energy game day atmosphere that your players and fans will love. Every song in our database is 100% lyric safe, which means you can stop screening music for good. GameTime also provides custom messaging to help you promote your upcoming events, concessions, and event-specific announcements. And it gives you the opportunity to sell sponsorships on your station that will generate revenue for your athletic department. Amp up your game day with GameTime.
Welcome to another episode of the Middle School AD podcast. Today we have a special sponsorship episode. Joining me today is Richie Huval, who is the product representative with Neptune GameTime. Richie, thanks for joining us on a late Sunday night.
I appreciate you making some time for this. Excited to be a part of your podcast.
Good deal. So before we dive into what Neptune GameTime is and what it can offer, tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey in athletics.
Sure. I've been a product representative here for GameTime for the past couple of years. I was actually a big fan of what the company does before I even got here. One of my mentors for the past few years is one of our other product representatives. His name's Brian Houston, and Brian's been with the company for a long time, and he has filled me in over the years how the company is standing in front of schools and inappropriate music, trying to provide the right kind of environment for everybody to have. And I always thought that was pretty cool. And so for me to come around and have an opportunity to champion that in front of a lot of schools has been very important for me, and something I appreciate getting to do. But as far as my background in athletics, I played Texas high school football, and I am a certified personal trainer. I'm actually a CrossFit coach. And so I get to coach a few classes a week and be involved in trying to make people better. And those are going to be people from all ages and backgrounds. But I've got a special place in my heart for middle school athletics. We've got 4 kids, and 2 of them are still middle schoolers. And they're just the weirdest bunch of little kids you've ever seen. My wife is a middle school math teacher, so she's got a special place in her heart for that age bracket as well. So thrilled to be talking with you and your audience about middle school athletics, because it's near and dear to our heart.
Yeah, like I said, we said it enough on here. It doesn't get enough light sometimes, but we are the beginning of interscholastic athletics. So we hopefully we can give them a good experience. You kind of already mentioned one of your mentors. Is there anybody else that you kind of want to mention that kind of helped you along the way?
Oh, absolutely. Really. And this is not just, I'm not doing this as brown nosing. I'm being honest. The guy that started our company, Eric Jantra, our whole company started really, a buddy of his had opened a water park and was looking for something that he could play over the speakers at his water park and hopefully promote his hot dog sales. And that was where the idea for this company started. And to see how it's progressed over the past decade into what it is now. I've known Eric for a long time. And like I say, I was a fan of what they were doing before I got here. But the priority that's been placed on what we do for public schools, private schools, colleges, universities, the solution that we provide is real unique, but it's real common. Everybody's got the same problem. And so I think somebody who's got the ability to cast a vision like that, see a need, find a way to fill it, those are people that impress me, and people that can stick with it for years impress me. I would definitely say I've got the privilege of working with and for a couple of guys that I've admired for a while.
Good deal. Yeah, it's always fun to see where a company kind of starts with. Like I said, I've been working with y'all for a couple of years, and I didn't know that. I didn't realize it started because it was a water park. So that's good stuff. So kind of diving into the middle school stuff, but. So what do you think, kind of from what you've seen, like you said, you've got some children that are in middle school. You've got a wife that's in the middle school. What do you think the biggest challenges that middle school ADs and athletics are facing today?
You're right. Middle school is the beginning of the sports experience for a lot of kids. And I think it obviously that presents a certain set of challenges. You've got some kids who have been personally trained for years before they get to middle school. They've got a set of skills. You've got some kids who are just proud to be there, and they need some extra coaching and some brought up. 90% of the kids, and you guys know this, are there to be with their friends. But I think the challenge comes in, we have a chance to establish sports as a fun thing. I mean, this is something that we want to be involved with. We want them involved with for the rest of their lives. And the reality is that barrier of entry coming in at middle school, man, if it's a great experience, they're going to love sports. They're going to stick with it in one way or another. But if it's a bad experience, man, that can sour them. And I mean, the kids that fall away from that, they're going to fall into something else. And sometimes that something else isn't great. Anytime that a middle school athlete, a middle school student, their family, anytime that they get a good, positive, rewarding experience through athletics, I think that solidifies a good foundation. They may not play baseball when they get to high school. They may just stick with basketball. I say that that's what our oldest did. He played everything in middle school, and he found the one thing that he was really excelling in, and that's what he stuck with. But if he'd had a bad experience anywhere in there, he wouldn't be involved with it. We'd be chasing something else down. So I think middle school is a very important time for these kids to get involved, to learn that this is fun, to learn that there's some structure, to learn about teamwork and rules and sportsmanship and everything else and the skills that you need. But I think that time period being so instrumental in shaping those kids' love for the game and just how they develop as a person as they're growing. I don't think there's a more important stage to be a coach in front of these kids than middle school.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, we've hit that home, rolling into almost half a year doing this. So it's, I think it keeps coming up, and I think it's the reason why is people keep needing to hear it. We've got to give them a good experience, and we can't wait for them to go to high school to get a good experience, because if they don't like it at the middle school, they may never get that experience at the high school. So that's good stuff. So jumping into what Neptune Game Time is, like you said, you've been a partner with us from day one. I think I called Richie one day and was like, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing," and he was like, "We're down." So it was a great partnership from the beginning, and I appreciate it. I've used Neptune at a 2,400 member school, and I've also used it at a 600, 700 member school, and both sizes, like you said, can benefit from it in different ways. So for those who really don't know what it is, before we really dive into it, just kind of explain what Game Time is and how it can help ADs and athletics be less stressful.
Yeah, anything that we can do to lighten that load, we're glad to do. But at Neptune Game Time, we provide pre-screened music for using at the school for games, events, pep rallies, school dances. You can really get crazy with it. But we're screening out all the music for the content that's inappropriate. Right? Somebody's got to do that. You can't just turn some kid loose with Spotify over your loudspeakers. You're going to get burnt. But we stand in front of that. Right. We've got a team of individuals that screens all the music, and we're protecting our schools from copyright, from content, from context, from all those things that can get coaches and ADs into a lot of trouble. And then on top of that, we're also providing all the pregame announcements for the schools. We produce those in-house. They come in as part of the playlists. And for schools who are utilizing sponsors, we can do commercials for their sponsors as well, so that they can use Game Time to generate some revenue. We don't take $1 of the sponsor money. That's not what we're about. We really want this to serve and grow the programs that we're with. So our software is an easy thing to download, like an app to an iPad or a tablet to a laptop, anything like that. It's all designed to be real portable, real user-friendly. And right now we're with almost 2,000 schools across the country, public schools, private schools, colleges, universities, large school districts, and even small rural campuses. We're really, everybody's got the same problem. And my buddy Brian Houston, he says, "Hey, as long as they're dropping F-bombs and songs, we'll have something to do."
That's right. And I kind of got to see firsthand, a quick screening process with you and one of your associates in Denver. Was it Denver 2 years ago? Because I found y'all in the vendor hall. I'm like, "Hey, look, there's a song my basketball coach wants on. I think it was a country song." I'm like, it's not that bad of a song. Why is it not on there? And then, one of your ladies got to work, put up the lyrics, and was like, "All right, here's why it's not on here, because it's innuendos, there's things like that and different slangs, and then I was able to look at it differently going, okay, yeah, I see it." So, it really, really is a big diving in and researching and reading the lyrics and all of that, not just trying to bleep out the cuss words.
Right. And I'll tell you, the guy that leads our screening program, he did some research of his own over the last couple of years. For the last 2 years, the Billboard Top 100 songs, we've been able to pass about 1/3 of them. Okay, 30 some odd songs. Usually about half of those pass as is, and the other half we may only be able to use 20 or 30 seconds of, like for walk-up music for baseball or something like that. But a good 2/3 of the songs that make the Billboard Top 100, that's, just, this is the top of everything. 2/3 of those songs don't make it. They don't fly. They talk about things that don't need to be talked in. Look, we're not here to make a judgment on what's good and what's bad. We're just here to say, hey, that's not appropriate to play at school. All right. And we want to stand in front of all the coaches and all the ADs and all the principals and get out in front of that. Hey, let's help safeguard the school, protect you guys from the wild and crazy that's out there. And but yeah, when you look at that top 100 and we could only approve about 1/3 of them, but our work is cut out for us. That's for sure.
Yeah, because normally you're not going to get complaints from the middle school students or the high school students if you're using it at the high school, and you might not get complaints from those parents. Who you're going to get complaints from is the 5-year-old aunt, or the aunt that comes with their 6-year-old or their 7-year-old that hears it and they're like, hey, I like I said, but before I got on with Neptune, I was playing a song that, again, I thought it was a very clean version of it, and then I got an email the next day saying, hey, y'all just made an announcement over the loudspeaker about your county's a tobacco free and drug free and profanity free zone, but the song that you were playing was talking about drugs. And again, to me, I was listening for cuss words. I wasn't really listening for all the little ins and outs. So then I went back and listened to it a little deeper, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that one wasn't too good. So it definitely takes that that time away from you having to sit down and listen and like you said, put a personal feeling going, this might not be that bad, and then somebody else is like, yeah, that's terrible.
Well, man, with as many school districts that are in the news these days for all sorts of things, the last thing we need is for somebody's school to get raked over the coals because some song played at some game that coach may not have even been at, but somebody in the stands decides that, man, you know what, they're going to make an issue out of this and raise some sand over something that was blatantly inappropriate or even mildly inappropriate. So again, that's part of what we want to do, is being out in front of that, just saving all the time and hassle of having to worry about, man, has anybody listened to this? What's playing? Whose phone is this that's plugged in? Where's this music coming from? That's not something that coach needs to be dealing with. He's got enough other things going on. We're glad to do that ahead of time, and everything that comes to the campus through GameTime has been through our screening process, and our team of individuals that screen the music for us, most of them are moms and teachers. So they are intent on safeguarding our schools from that wild and crazy stuff that's out there.
Well, yeah, I'm a big Eminem fan. I grew up with Eminem, and a lot of his stuff you can't play. So that was the first thing I looked at whenever I got it for the first time is there Eminem songs in there, and there's about 5 or 6 of them in there. So like you said, if you can get them in, you try to squeeze them in there.
Hey, well, it benefits us to have as much music as we can. And it benefits the schools too, specifically with those Eminem tracks. And I know the ones you're talking about. We may have like a minute and a half of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we use just enough. It's the jam. We want to get that out there, but we're going to get out of there before any problems start with the content. So yeah, you'll hear some of our walk-up music. It's 20, 30 seconds long. It may be the first 10 seconds of some NBA YoungBoy track that all the kids think they want to hear. Yeah, we can only do about 10 or 12 seconds of that guy, and we got to get out of there. So
that was for our girls basketball warm up this year. they wanted a song. So most of the songs were a minute and a half. There was 2 minutes, the full length within the software. But there was one song, I can't remember what it was, but it was 30 seconds of it. I'm like, look, I threw it in there. It had the chorus or whatever it was, and it got away from it. So it's good stuff. So you've kind of mentioned walk up for a couple times. Kind of explain what the Neptune Game Time can do for baseball, softball, and we even use it as wrestlers as well. We had the big wrestling school, and when they would walk up, it was a little different because you had to figure out who they were sending out, so you had to know who it was and have all that, and so it was a little more live knowing who to mash. But kind of explain the walk up process.
Sure. So our software comes with the songs that are the minute and a half, the 2 minutes, and stuff like that for pregame. And those kind of things. But we've got a humongous walk-up music library where we've already edited walk-up music, 20, 30, 40 seconds, however long it takes for you to wander out to the plate, strike out again. We can play your favorite song while you're headed there. And with our software, you can set that up where it associates to that player name and even their jersey number. So if you got a volunteer, a parent who's running sound at the game that night, really easy for them to look down and see number 9 coming to the plate. They hit the music, and there you go. Yeah, use it for baseball, for softball, wrestling. Anytime you want some kids, running out, they want to have their own hype music. Hey, let's do that. Let's make that a part of what we provide. And we've also got, along with all that, we've got national anthems that are already on our software. So we're not worried about who's got the anthem on their phone or what version is it. They're all in Game Time. They're always going to be there. And we've got this huge sound effects library as well, with things like, the little breaking glass sound when we hit the foul ball over the back fence, that kind of stuff. So
we use the truck, the beeping sound with a reversal in the truck whenever a penalty happened in football. So when they were marching them backwards, we would hit the truck. First a couple of times people were like, "What in the world?" And then they finally realized what was going on, and so they started looking for the beep. So
that's awesome. I've heard a lot of great stories of schools using the sound effects in all kinds of fun, different ways. And hey, one of the great things about our software, our system, you can set anybody down in front of it. All right, because everything in it's been pre-screened. Nobody's really going to do anything wrong outside of one of those middle school kids playing Baby Shark over and over or something like that.
Yeah, well, and I think I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, like I said, I'm at a middle school, obviously, and I've got 6th through 8th grade students running my sound, and I'm perfectly comfortable with it. Where before, a couple of times they're like, "Coach, so-and-so song's not on here," so I don't care. You're playing what's on if it's on the iPad, you can play it. So search as much as you want. But yeah, and so again, I give them the iPad, they set up, and we have a warm-up list, but pretty much during timeouts and half times, I'm like, look, you're the DJ. Go through, find the songs you want to play, and they love it. Because they'll find some songs now. One basketball game turned into a Taylor Swift concert because that's all they wanted to play. But the crowd, the crowd was singing, and so it was fine. But wouldn't been what I would have picked, but hey, they were able to have their own voice, if you want to say, through the software, and I felt perfectly fine setting a 12-year-old down, saying, "Here, run the sound for our event."
Sure, that's part of the beauty of the thing. You let the kids run it. Yeah, you're right. It gives them a voice, gives them some say so. They're not just being told what to listen to by a bunch of folks that used to be cool. They get to play all the Taylor Swift music that they just love.
That's right. Hey, our district is pretty much either you go fully instrumental, or you do something like Game Time, and there's some people that will push the envelope, but when I heard, if we get a complaint at the district office, we're letting your principal know that we told y'all to go fully instrumental. I went fully instrumental until I get Game Time, and our district AD is like, hey, look, this is a great software and all of that. So
man, I've heard of schools who have gone silent, trying to play basketball with no hype. And I'm like, and their perspective is, hey, nothing's going to bother, nothing's going to, we're not going to get in trouble for doing this. And I'm thinking, man, but that just stinks for those kids.
Yeah.
And the fans and the families in the stands. It's just taking all the air out of the balloon. And so, glad to have come in and solved that issue for that school in particular. And there may be others out there who are just at wit's end over what do we do? You can't just play music that the kids want to hear because it's half of it's just filthy. And trying to spend the time to screen the music and listen to it. Somebody's got to be in charge of that. That's what we're all about. That's the stuff that we want to do.
Yeah, so kind of touch on the last little section here about how we're going to. I mean, yes, we're saving AD's times and saving coaches' time, so they're not having to screen music. But really, there's two other features that save you a ton of time, which is the radio mode, where you can just put in a percentage of the genre you want, and basically the on-demand section where you can actually send it out and they can. The athletes take the time to go through the songs and basically build their playlist. So if you kind of touch on those two things, because I think those are really the two great features of the software.
Sure. Well, our software comes in two modes, and that's it. There's the radio mode and the on-demand mode. So it's really simple to operate. The radio mode is the easiest thing you've ever seen because all you've got to do is tell it what game you're about to play. Right? Hey, we're going to play a guys' basketball game. We're going to play volleyball. We're going to play a football, whatever it's going to be. It's going to build a playlist for your game automatically. Right. And yeah, you're right. You get to choose the music genres and the percentages of those genres. Like, hey, we've got a basketball game. We want it to be 50% hip hop and 20% stadium hits. And, you can break down all those percentages. It's going to build a playlist that'll last all day for you. And it's going to automatically put in any of the announcements that are appropriate for that game, any of your sponsors that we've got the commercials for. All that gets done for you. It runs completely hands-free. It's really the kind of thing that coach sets up an hour or two before the game starts, plugs it into the sound system, and walks away from it. So while the teams are coming in, families are coming in, there's already music and announcements playing that are completely appropriate for the school. No problem.
Yeah, before you move on demand, again, the beauty about that is you can set it when to start, and so that's what I would do. Like especially for Friday night football, or any kind of football where or if you're outside and there's a press box and you're not right there like in a volleyball or basketball. I'd go up there we'd open the gates at 6:00. So I'd go up there at 5:00 or so. Would be my press box quote unquote time, and I'd go ahead and set up everything. Cut the computer on. I just leave it on. And so I'm out there walking around the field, open up the gates, open up the tickets and all that. And all of a sudden, right at 6:00, it clicks on. And again, it's amazing because I don't have to run back up there and be late and all of that. So definitely another plus to the radio mode.
Oh yeah, it's designed to really just be super simple to use, and that's a great way to use it. Set it up, have a preset time you want it to come on, and then man, you're free to do anything else but music at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, no, the other half of that software is that on-demand mode where you can build your own playlist. You can let kids build their own playlists in there if you want to. You can build as many playlists in the system as you want. You can assign what we call hotkeys, where you have anything that's in GameTime assigned to a button on the keyboard. So stuff that you would use a lot in the game, like that backing up truck sound, you could assign that to a button on the keyboard so that every time, hey, we're marching it back 5 yards, we're going to tap that key. We don't have to go hunt it down. But finding things is really easy. You can search by keywords on GameTime. All that's super simple to use. And in that on-demand mode, that's where our national anthems are. That's where our sound effects are, all that kind of stuff. And if a school has particular pregame announcements, like, hey, we have a very specific sportsmanship announcement that we need to play 5 minutes before kickoff, we can put that in on-demand as well. And it's right there. One click. You got it. It's all set to use. So super simple to use and easy to download to PC, Mac, iPads, tablets, that type of thing. And one of the cool features about our software, I think this is just kind of that one of those little hidden gem things. You don't need Wi-Fi to run it, which is super beneficial. We don't always have great Wi-Fi at the game, at the ball field, so we're not worried about that. GameTime downloads everything you need for that game to that device, but you do need to connect it to the internet at least every 72 hours. So when the game's over with, just take the device back to the office. It's going to update itself, and then you get the latest music, any new announcements, any new software, all that stuff gets done automatically. But not needing Wi-Fi to run GameTime is pretty slick.
Yeah, because like I said, what we've done too is, actually, if you've got it on an iPad or even a computer, you get one of those portable speakers, and you can bring it with you. So maybe you are going to a park to play a baseball game or a soccer game, and they're not going to have any type of sound. If you've got a portable speaker, you can bring it right along with you and have the stuff anywhere you go. So we use the hotkeys. My hotkeys were all filled up, and the first 1 through 10 was what I wanted announced at every single game. It doesn't matter if it was football, if it was basketball, if it was baseball, softball, wherever there was a PA, you went through 1 through 10 or 1 through 5 or whatever it was. And it was our, welcome, just a quick thing. It was our sportsmanship. It was our, the talking about this is a profanity free zone. It was the national anthem. It was everything. So we were uniform across, and you didn't have football saying one thing and basketball saying something totally different. Yes, they're saying the same message, but we wanted the exact same message to be heard. So So it didn't matter whoever I gave the computer to. It was they knew. Okay, 1 through 5, 1 through 6 was 5 minutes before the game. And they just went down the line. And again, I didn't have to worry about somebody saying something that didn't need to be said or lack of saying something. So it definitely is a life saver. It's an email saver or a trip to the principal's office saver. But there's different. Again, we don't want to get too much into it. We'll let you kind of give your contact information out here in a little bit. But there's different packages for every level. So if you think, well, this is too expensive, the Neptune will work with you and figure out what you need. If you don't need the full, package, then they'll figure out what you need and make it tailored toward your school.
Absolutely. And like you said, hey, we want to standardize. You've got those top 5, these announcements, this particular everything, and this gets played at every game. You couldn't standardize that with anything else, outside of printing it out and handing it to somebody to read. And we've seen districts picking up GameTime to standardize across multiple campuses. For one, covering their bases on what the music is saying, but then, hey, we always need to have this announcement. We always need to say this. We always need to mention these things, whether it's, the profanity-free zone, or even if, promote visit the concession stand, that type of stuff. It could be next week's sports schedule. It could be anything. We want to provide all of that stuff. So GameTime is an excellent platform to, standardize your messaging and announcements across the board. And not have to worry about, hey, did you guys mention, did it get said? Did this get, or did the wrong thing get? No, we can take care of all that, and we want to.
Or did you? I never heard it. Did you forget to say the $2,000 sponsor that's supposed to get that 30-second commercial, and y'all didn't say it? This is a big game, and there's thousands of people here at the middle school level, and there may be hundreds of people here. But this person is paying us money to say the commercial, and you didn't say it. It's that GameTime takes away that stress as well. So kind of we'll wrap up kind of with how people can get in contact and get more information about Neptune, and then we'll hit the final question and get out of here. So just kind of you can give your contact, and you can kind of send them where they need to go to get more information.
Sure. You can hit up our website, neptunenow.com. My email, I'll give that to you. It's Richie. It's RICHIE at neptunenow.com. And my direct number is 903-405-4855.
Good deal. Yeah. And we'll make sure that we tag Neptune at Wigan. We tag them for every post because, like I said, they're one of our sponsors. But even if you are driving and need to get to it later, just go on to wherever you found this at, or you can go on to the Middle School AD podcast.com, and it's there's a link to Neptune there as well. So like I said, if you're driving or walking on the treadmill and doesn't have anything to write that down with, you can make sure you go there. So Richie, kind of in closing, we ask everybody, and some people can pick one, others have to do two or three, so it really doesn't matter. But what do you think the most important personality trait or strength that a middle school AD needs to be successful?
I'm gonna be dangerous, and I'm gonna try to pick one. And I would have to say that it's got to be consistency. Regardless of what student you're dealing with, what family member you're dealing with, what sport you're dealing with, what administrator you're dealing with, consistency, I think, has got to be key in how we're handling ourselves, how we're handling our business, that we're conscious of being fair across the board. We want everything to be even. And I think being consistent with your kids, being consistent with your families, being consistent with your peers, your administration, just sets everybody up for clarity in communication, for clarity in expectations, both ways, because that's inconsistency in communication and expectations is where problems start. And I think that if coaches and ADs center up on being consistent, this is how we do things, this is why we do things, then that removes a lot of barriers that may be put up that lead to some problems. So, yeah, I'm going to hang my hat on consistency.
Yeah, and like, again, not to beat the nail in the coffin, but how many times have we heard it? Why, we'll say that the indoor sports. Why does basketball get all the good music, but volleyball doesn't? Or why is, if you're in the football stadium, if you play, if you're middle school, but you have to play at the high schools or whatever, but, why does football get all music, but our soccer team doesn't? Or, so is even consistency right there. And, again, making sure, again, when I was at that school with 2,400, we bought, 3 different computers to have 3 different, we had 3 different locations in the spring, baseball, softball, and at the stadium. We made sure that if we had one night that every 3 lights were on, then they all were running the same music. So that even goes right along to what Neptune can offer there as well. So Richie, I appreciate you jumping on again with us on an old late Sunday night, and this will come out. I think you said you're heading to Georgia, so probably the ones in Georgia are probably hearing this on the weekend that the Georgia one is happening, because we're about a week ahead that this is going to come out. So, but we appreciate what you did, and especially for us at the SC AAA conference, getting to run into you and shake hands and all that. So you make sure if you're at a it's conference season now heading into the spring. So if you're at a conference and you see NetTime there, make sure, or GameTime, make sure you stop by and see them and talk with them and see what they're about.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're covering the map right now. Excited to get in front of everybody and meet schools that we're partnered with already, and then get introduced to new schools that we can look to help.
All right. Well, again, thank you all for listening. And again, this has been one of our special episodes with one of our sponsors, Richie Huval with Neptune GameTime, and we'll see you next time.
This episode was sponsored by Gipper. Use the code MSAD10 for 10% off any Gipper plan at Gipper.com.
Bring your school's legacy to life with the Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. Our interactive display highlights your greatest moments and top performers, both past and present, across athletics, academics, and the arts. But it's also so much more. With our one-of-a-kind content program, we help you every step of the way so you can tell more compelling stories that will engage your whole community.